Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, the big reveal from the Game Awards 2024, Naughty Dog's brand new IP, a cornerstone of the Sony lineup when it comes to first-party titles with some of the highest-rated games of all time. And, well, the trailer was a little bit questionable for some people. Taking a look at Naughty Dog's official YouTube account, comments are closed. The like-dislike ratio, which you have to have an extension for to see nowadays, because I guess people can't know you disliked something even though the creator can still see it, seems to be a bit heavily favored in the negative side of things. And of course, because of all this game has become the poster child for the grift war that takes place online. Whether if you like it, you're a woke soy boy. If you don't like it, you're a bigot. Both sides of this culture war profit from things like this, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But of course, I like to be more nuanced with things. I like to look at things and give my opinion on them. And unfortunately, when it comes to this grift war, especially surrounding video games, there is a large contingency of people on both sides of these grift wars that feel like their opinion is way more valid than yours. Who are you? You're a little pissant. My opinion is more important. And if you don't agree with my opinion, well, you're wrong. And to me, that's the most ridiculous thing in the world. I always say, if people disagree with me, that's awesome. You'll probably disagree with me on some stuff in this video. And you know what? That's okay. Your opinion is just as valid as my opinion. My opinion is just as valid as your opinion. Now, talking about Naughty Dog, obviously, you know, they have their history, Jak and Daxter and stuff like that, but recently it's been all about The Last of Us and remaking The Last of Us and remaking The Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2. And I don't hate the Last of Us franchise. You know, I like the gameplay in the first one. I like the story in the first one. There were some issues with the gameplay. I felt like the puzzle mechanics, as far as like a crate and a ladder and a dumpster being the solution to everything. But I thought the characters were relatable in the first game. The second game, obviously the gameplay got a hell of a lot better. I didn't like the story of the game, and no, it had nothing to do with Abby being a butch woman and getting it from behind, or Ellie being a lesbian. I didn't care about that. Like, whatever. My whole thing was more so, I saw this as a potential story for revenge, and then you had an opportunity for revenge and you turned it down, and then you had another opportunity for revenge and you turned it down, which makes no sense to me. However, there will be people in the comment section of this video like, RGT, that's not what the story's about, stupid. You didn't understand the story. Your opinion is just as valid as my opinion. That is how I interpreted the story. That is what I took away from the story of that game. But Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, we've been waiting. We've been waiting to see what Naughty Dog was going to bring to the table. And what they brought to the table was something very unique, we'll say. Obviously, a bit of a departure from what they have previously done with The Last of Us, a mostly CGI-driven trailer. You know, you got a little glimpse of gameplay at the end, but this was more about establishing the main character, sort of the lore and the story of the world. It takes inspiration from things like Akira and Cowboy Bebop, and I don't know anything about, though. I know Akira's got a bike, and Cowboy Bebop, I've seen the meme where it's Bebop from the Ninja Turtles sitting on a horse with a cowboy hat on. Like, I'm not familiar with that sort of stuff, so probably some of the references missed out on me a little bit. I'm sure there were references to both of those things, but this is obviously like an alternative 80s universe where technology has gotten a lot better. And really, you know, one of the main things that I kind of had an issue with this trailer was the product placement. You know, and that's something that we actually talked about on the Spawncast, and Gene Park said that, you know, that's kind of going to be the potential future of gaming, because companies can now leverage video games to market their products. You know, when the spaceship flying in and the first shot you see of it has a big Porsche logo on the back, like, that kind of took me by surprise and almost took me out of it a little bit. And like, you might say, well, don't you want real products in a game that's supposed to be, I guess, somewhat realistic in an alternate timeline? And I do feel like there is a time and place for it, but how did our character Jordan Munn get this spaceship? A Porsche spaceship? You know, if it was a Toyota or something like that, more people own a Toyota than they do a Porsche. So is she rich? Like, what's going on with that? I just have questions. But then, of course, we're introduced to our main character, and the first shot we see of her is her shaving her head, making sure she's got a nice clean buzz cut because she is a bounty hunter named Jordan A. Munn. Where are her missing 5 other bounty hunters? They've gone missing. We have to go to outer space to get it. And obviously, she has a distinct look, a Jada Pinkett Smith style look to her. And this is our lead character as far as we know, as far as we have been introduced to this character. And this is who we'll be playing as. Once again, as far as we know, there could be other characters that you end up playing as well. But considering how Naughty Dog is, you know, there could be some sort of bait and switch, some sort of, you know, changing of different characters and stuff like that. But this is the first character we were introduced to. And she has a look to her. And, like, I get it, you know. It's a very strong female sort of character. Some people don't like that sort of stuff. To me, the problem with the character is more so the attitude of the character. I don't care if she's got long hair, big boobs, small boobs, you know, short hair, whatever. Like, I fired off Knuckle Children to Striptease. I fired off Knuckle Children to G.I. Jane, which was Demi Moore's next movie where she had a shaved head. All right. When I was a kid, things were crazy. I'm glad my mother didn't have a black light and come into my room because it was ceiling, carpet, wherever. That Skinamax came through for your boy. To me, that's not something I necessarily care about, but like the attitude, she has a very childish attitude, teenage angst, and it's like you're like a bounty hunter here. Like, you're supposed to have a little bit of poise to yourself. You're going to planets that haven't been discovered in quite a while, that haven't had human contact in quite a while, and trying to find these people that are missing from your crew. And, like, you're sitting there, like, the person's telling you about stuff, and you're just sitting there drinking your soda, like, staring like a teenager. And it's like, is that really how someone would be represented in this sort of situation? I don't know. It's not my story. These are just things that I personally notice with the character. But obviously, the design of the character is raising quite a few eyebrows with this. Like, why does she have a shaved head? Like, that's something that a lot of people are asking, and I think that's a somewhat valid question. I get it. You're a bounty hunter. It's not supposed to be a beauty contest, but what is the purpose? Is there a purpose? Is this just a stylistic choice? I feel like these are valid questions that you can ask without being labeled one thing or another, just by simply wondering what this game is about. Because remember, at the end of the day, you are a consumer. You don't play every single video game that comes out. You don't play every single video game from your favorite company just because your favorite company made it. So asking questions and being respectful with your questions, but asking them nonetheless, I think is a very valid thing. The problem is that falls into the nuance category, because this game has become the absolute poster child of this video game culture war, where you have people on one side saying it's woke garbage slop because of the shaved head woman, and then people on the other side saying that anyone who says that this is woke garbage slop is a bigotist, a homophobe, racist. We don't even know if this character, like, what their sexual preference is. So I don't know. I mean, the G.I. Jane, she wasn't a lesbian. But what ends up happening is the whole conversation shifts away from the game itself to the perception of the game. And, we've only seen a little bit of gameplay, and that's more so what I'm interested in. Now, the small clip that we saw, I guess, looked interesting enough, but there wasn't enough to sort of sink your teeth into to kind of decipher what sort of gameplay style this is going to be. I would assume it would be a little bit faster than something like The Last of Us, because it looks like melee is going to be a very important thing about this. But am I only fighting robots? Because it seems like this world that's been created kind of solely revolves around robots and not many people left. And if that's the case, how are you going to manage to flesh out the story? Do I have to have some humanoid robot sort of, pour their heart out to me with this whole sort of thing? But like I said, it's just become this whole culture war thing. And the problem that I have with this culture war thing is the lack of nuance and the fact that it just becomes this situation where people parrot what their favorite person on this side of the culture war says without actually thinking for themselves. I don't agree with any one person on every single topic because that's bizarre to me. That is a cult-like thing. But people seem to be indoctrinated into both sides of these cults. And the funny thing is, both sides of these things, everything is woke, nothing is woke, you're a bigot side of things, are both profiting from this. They all have Twitter check marks. They're all making money and revenue by doing this sort of stuff. They're all making money on these articles and videos that they make and stuff like that. And I feel like it's not necessarily about the message, or it's more about the message than actually talking about what is true. Because my problem is, a lot of people that wrote off games like Indiana Jones and Silent Hill 2 for potentially, having these issues with them, they never really came back, aside from a few, but they never really came back and said, oh, well, you know what? We thought that this was going to be a situation like this, but it looks like we were wrong. Hey, these look like great games. And that's kind of a problem because it becomes more about the message than actually providing truth in the subject matter. And the other side of the coin does the exact same thing. There is no credence lent to any other side. So it's not about trying to find a common ground or trying to better video games by bringing up discussion points. It's more so about just needlessly bashing one side or the other side to profit off of it and to make money in your own pocket. And Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, is the new poster child for this game because you have this shaved head, bald female character that's the strong lead who's a little sassy, and I don't really understand that portion of it. But now it's not about the gameplay. Now it's more so about some social message and anything like that. And it's like, I don't get it. If it doesn't look good to you, it doesn't look good to you. But I'm not willing to write off something based on a half second of gameplay trailer. If we get more gameplay and it looks like ass, then it looks like ass. Then I'm not going to check out the game. Like, that's how things should be based on. It should be more so about the game than the characters themselves. And I know people in the comments are going to say, oh, there's agendas being pushed and stuff like that. And maybe you're right. But you don't have to give into the agenda. You don't have to buy this game, but you also don't have to hyperfixate all of your focus onto it as well. Me, I'm taking a laid back approach. I'll look at more footage of the game. I'll get more trailers. I'll look at more gameplay. And if it looks good when it comes out in 2027, 2028, that shit's not coming out for a long time. Maybe I'll check it out. If it doesn't look good, I won't check it out. Like, that's the beauty of video games. You don't have to play everything. Anyways, I know I was all over the place with this video, but I feel like that's how this conversation is, and this conversation should be. It should be all over the place. You should be exploring other avenues and exploring, different logics and different reasonings and trying to understand why someone might think something about a game and not necessarily just dismissing it right off the jump. You don't have to agree with other people's opinions, but their opinions are just as valid as your opinions. All because you don't agree with that opinion doesn't mean that it is any less valid than yours. And unfortunately, as a society, we've come to a point where everyone thinks they're the center of attention. Everyone thinks they're the focal point. They're the star of the show. When in reality, that's not how the world works. Let me know what you think of this game in the comments section down below. I'm sure the comments section of this video is going to be a fun time, and I can't wait to see it and read all of the people that now hate me. So that's the problem when you're nuanced. Then you piss off both sides of the coin. The super wokies, the anti-wokies, and everyone's mad at you, and you don't have a home. But that's fine. I've always been an outcast, and I sort of enjoy it. And as always, guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.